Video land, you're watching Living and Thriving with Rusty. And guess what? Today's something really strange, really out of the box, something I haven't done in a bazillion years. We're doing a presentation. Why? Because I want you to know there's 4 signs to know you're your own worst enemy. Every day you have this opportunity to recognize your behavior so that you can live and thrive to the best of your ability. So why are you not getting ahead? Why are you having a difficult time finding opportunities? Or are you just not taking the opportunities that are knocking on your door? As crazy as it sounds, the most reason people don't succeed is, well, we engage in self-defeating behaviors. I could tell you all about that for days. I think I've even written books about that one. How can you tell? Well, there's 4 simple signs. Oh, the exit into fear. We all use that one. We get really close to people and we're like, oh, too close, gotta go, bye. You have a project and you just can't take that next step. It's, oh gosh, you're usually too worried that it's not gonna work out, or, well, maybe you're worried that it will. Maybe you're worried if it works out and you become a, higher promoted person, oh my, what is that going to lead into? And is that going to be more work and more consequences and more this and more that? And a lot of people actually get stuck in this cycle. So it's not too uncommon to run away from the things that frighten us, especially if what frightens us is actually ourselves or a relationship or that promotion that we've always wanted. And I can tell you, coming from trauma speak, it's amazing how stupid I can become when I get really excited and really anxious and really nervous, because anxious, nervous, and excitement has always been the end result of being afraid. Did you hear that? The end result of being afraid. So you're unsure, or maybe you're feeling insecure. That subconsciously leads us to procrastination. Yes, that time where you would rather binge watch movies instead of finishing that last chapter of your book, or I don't know, maybe I'll sit here and play Scrabble on my phone instead of going for that 10,000 step hour walk that I keep promising myself that I'm going to do. You know what I'm talking about. You procrastinate. You're feeling unsure of what you're doing. You're feeling like maybe your skill set's not up to snuff. You question your confidence regarding the next step. And this is perfectly natural. You do not know everything. You are not built to be this superhuman brain. But the problem is new ideas, and the job's never going to get done. Those new ideas will never come. And nothing's really going to become apparent later. It's just not. You're going to end up losing the project, losing your job, and kind of spiraling back into that whole insecure cycle. And procrastination isn't really your friend. It's kind of a warning sign that you need to take a step back and breathe, right? Oh, this is my favorite because I have trained people. I have been this person. I know people like this. You're burying yourself in everything else but the project at hand, whatever that means. For example, I have a garage. I have a garage that needs to be organized. I refuse to go near my garage because I don't want to remind myself that it needs to be organized. It's so dang hot down here right now. The other thing is, some people are really easily distracted. I call that the squirrel syndrome. It's kind of a thing where you're like, squirrel, shiny object, gotta go. And it takes over and you get sidetracked and you forget to do this and you don't do that. And but deep down inside, it's really, really, really that you're insecure about what you're doing. Or think about it this way. Maybe what you're doing doesn't make you happy, so you really just don't have care for what you're doing. There's nothing wrong with either way. There's nothing wrong with being insecure. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging that you don't really care for the project, whatever it is, i.e. garage for myself. you just have to acknowledge it and face it head on and say what it is and just move on, move forward, because it's got to get done. It's not going to do itself. That garage is never going to get cleaned by itself. But if I have friends and family or neighbors that want to come over and help me, that would be great. All right, I know I don't. Nobody wants to work in this heat. Oh, pep talks. What kind of pep talk are you actually giving yourself? After all, it's very easy to convince ourselves that we suck all day long. We can convince ourselves of what tragedies prevent us from doing what we need to do. We are our own best and worst enemy. I think a lot of it comes from a place called trauma. There's voices in the back of your head, reminders of your past telling you that you can never do this and you're too stupid and for me, it was very hard to start working on my CPA classes because my childhood was filled with how stupid I was because I couldn't do basic math. And throughout my marriage, my ex-husband used to say the same thing. So for me, it was very difficult at first to take those classes. But when I started getting, 90s and 100s on my test, I'm like, wow, the only person that was stopping me from doing what I needed to do was me. There's another approach to look at this. I want you guys to really look at the big elephant in the room. Are you eating that whole elephant in one gulp? Are you trying to shove it into your face, that whole project, doing it all quickly and fast and huge to get it done? Or are you taking the time to eat the elephant in little tiny pieces? It's an expression, but again, are you taking on little tiny pieces, little tiny tasks to make this work? What's your attitude like? Are you going ho-hum into the area going, oh, I don't want to do this. This sucks. Oh, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. Or are you excited about it? Even if it stinks, you can find excitement with it. At least you're closer, another bite, so to speak, to be done with it. If you're complaining about it, it's going to make things even harder for you to get the task done. So, talk to yourself about what kind of pep talk you're actually giving yourself. The project's still going to be there. The elephant's still going to be in the room until you finish the last bite. That's the reality of the situation. Where are you coming from? Is your head on straight? All of these behaviors, I can tell you from firsthand experience, can get you fired. All of these behaviors. Sorry about that. I thought I turned my phone off. All of these behaviors can adversely affect you. They can get you fired. They can get you evicted. They can get you, they can prevent you from new opportunities. And it's really, the real key to this whole thing is sitting back and acknowledging that you are human. You have a past. You have a future. You have things to learn. Nobody knows everything unless you're 15 years old, and then that changes when you're about 25. But larger than that, it's growth. Some of the best creations, some of the best inventions were made from mistakes, were made from failures. And if you can look at your failure as a way to recreate your situation into a better situation, then you're actually being very successful. If you wallow in it and continue to try to jump out of the exit into fear, well, that's not helping you out very much. Right now, while the world is readjusting and revamping, it's really important for you to evaluate who you are, what you want, and what's going on for you. What's going good for you, what's going bad for you, and how can you change that scenario? And I can guarantee you, I can absolutely guarantee you, I will bet you a whole $1, cup of coffee, all right, I'll go up to $5, whole $5, that if you were to acknowledge that the majority of your behavior is the reason why you are where you are, it's so freeing to just be like, oh, you're being a jerk today. No wonder you've got a bad attitude. That's why you're spilling everything all over yourself or stubbing your toe or whatever. The situation is a moment. It's not an entire lifetime. And if you've learned anything from anything that I've done, over the years. It's really a moment. It's not the entire lifetime. The world doesn't suck. It's not horrible. It's not flat either, but it's round and beautiful and full of amazing things to discover and explore. But you have to get your head on. So if you're at work and you're having a crappy day at work, just take a time out. I mean, by law here in America, you're supposed to be 2 15-minute breaks for a 6-hour shift. So you can take a walk around the block, you can take a walk around the office, you can just walk away and acknowledge that it's your own self and what things can you do to get back on track. Larger, if you find that you absolutely hate what you're doing, don't quit right away, obviously, because you have bills to pay, but definitely look into the possibility of what steps can you take to change your life. So if you hate your job, which a lot of people do, believe it or not, are you applying to other places so that you could find a better job that's going to fit your lifestyle choices, your wants, your desires, maybe you're environmentally, focused and you really want to work in helping the environment, or maybe you're really child focused, or maybe you're a teacher focused. There's just so many possibilities of what you could do that would make you happy. But it's really evaluating deeply who you are, what you want, and what direction to go to. And there are a lot of people out there that can help you. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Do not ever be afraid to ask for help. Help is an amazing thing. There's coaches, teachers, reverends, counselors, friends. When I was a cashier many years ago, I was probably the biggest resource for a lot of my customers. They would come in just asking me for resources, and there's career centers everywhere, and sometimes those career centers, not here in Florida, they cut the budget, but sometimes the career centers will actually offer free classes or free resume building services, or they will do mock interviews and really help develop that skill set so that when you are ready to walk out of that situation that's making you unhappy, you'll feel better and more confident about it, so you won't continue to make the same mistakes. So those are your 4 signs as to how you could probably be your own worst enemy. And I can guarantee if you look deeply, you can make an adjust to your sales and thrive, learning what it is that you're self-sabotaging. And we all do it. You're not alone. So here are more links. You can find me pretty much everywhere. Pinterest, YouTube, Etsy, my semi-finalist on Funky Thinker, that was fun, my blog talk radio, my podcast, my YouTube channel, Patreon. And if you want to learn more about oils, I will have some classes coming up in the next week or so here on my YouTube channel. But if you want to learn even more, go to my.doterra.com/Rustie and hit me up. And it's great, it's fun, it's natural, it's healthy, it's safe, and we're opening up an entire market in India right now. So for those of you of my Indian friends, hey, let me know and I can definitely put classes together for you and your family. Go to rustiemcdonald.medium.com to read my latest tips, tricks, and tools for not only living a magnificent life, but thriving too, because we all want to thrive. Until next time.